For 37 years, companies have competed each year to be recognized as the Outstanding Corporate Innovator, awarded by PDMA. It's called the OCI Award. The selection process seeks companies that consistently generate and harness long-term value through exceptional product and service innovation. Winning companies demonstrate well-defined new product development practices and processes which have contributed to their innovation success. Open to companies worldwide, the award epitomizes innovation excellence. The 2024 award winners are, get this, DFW Airport and MSA Safety. We'll be talking about MSA Safety later. But with me is the VP of Innovation at DFW Airport, Jody Brinkerhoff, and we're going to dive into what innovation means there. First, we are recording this interview at the PDMA conference that's called the Inspire Innovation Conference. PDMA is the professional association. It stands for Product Development Management Association. They're the professional association for product managers, leaders, and innovators across the world. These are the people whose knowledge, skills, and experience is powering the best innovating companies, but also the longest running professional association for us product professionals. They've been around since 1976 at this point, contributing to research and knowledge to help us do a better job in our work. I have been a member now for about 2 decades, and I've really found value in my association with them. I'm also helped to contribute back to the community, most recently by being the second author on the PDMA Body of Knowledge for Product Innovation, our 3rd edition of that. And it's just a fabulous organization. If you are a professional product person, you need to know about it. Please check out pdma.org.
How can you unlock your full potential as a product manager? We're sharing the product management insights you need. They are based on the 7 research-backed knowledge areas for product mastery. You'll learn to create products customers love, enhance your influence, and elevate your career. Welcome to Product Mastery Now, hosted by Dr. Chad McAllister, product management professor, practitioner, and your guide.
We're going to dive into this award and specifically innovation at DFW Airport. Jody, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with such a great group of people, and we're so honored to have been selected as an OCI winner this year.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's not a trivial thing, and we'll get into the details of that.
It is not.
But first, I have to admit, which I'm sure comes as no surprise to you, when I saw the award winners this year, I went, airport. I never even thought about an airport having an innovation capability. Maybe a little history on that, and what does innovation mean as the VP of Innovation at DFW Airport?
Sure. Well, first and foremost, DFW is experiencing or celebrating its 50th anniversary this year, and innovation has always been a core part of its DNA, baked into the mission, vision, and values of the organization. But as technology continued to change and the pace of change really grew, there was recognition that there wasn't a shared process, a shared language, and in 2018, the CEO and others decided to start a dedicated innovation team. If you think about the operations of an airport, in fact, this summer we probably had days where we had close to 300,000 people coming through our operation. Everyone has to be on deck to make that, first of all, go smoothly, but also to address any challenges.
Because we appreciate that as passengers when it goes smoothly.
Right. And so the challenge with having innovation required of everybody and such is that on the days that things aren't going well, all attention goes to operation. And so where do you find the time to really invest in good innovation behavior, trend spotting, looking at what is the next horizon? And in our environment, so much of what we do is operational, but also infrastructure related. We are a government organization, and that changes the game. Unlike some of the companies that were recognized here today, we don't have shareholders who are looking at our revenue numbers in the same way that we are tasked with delivering on a great customer experience. Our mission is very different. So we've been in place and operating now for 6 years as an innovation team, and we support the core business across the entire organization.
Okay. So one thing you said in there was just the way I took it, at least, the pressure to even think about innovating. Everyone has a job to do, all hands on deck. It's a busy environment. Give us some examples of how what has been the output of this innovation? What projects have you taken on? How do you think about this? How do you keep people involved?
Yeah. The airport has a very strong approach to strategic planning. And that strategic planning looks at operational excellence, it looks at customer experience, it looks at sustainability, it looks at how do we build the airport of the future and ensure that all elements of it are working with the utmost of precision and with safety by design. And therefore, as an innovation team, we work very closely with our business executives and our business unit people on the front line and behind the scenes to ensure that we're listening. We're listening to where are the instances where things could have been done better or they got tripped up on a particular night because of a lot of storms. And we're trying to think of ways that we could solve for those problems and frankly, de-risk the future.
So that's kind of like the customer support capability of a company selling products, right? You're listening to where some of the issues occurred. What can we do to improve that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I was thankful I could catch your presentation earlier today as an award winner. And one of the things you shared, I think the staff there, I mean, the airport complex is enormous for the number of employees.
Bigger than the size of Manhattan.
Yeah, right? Enormous. But I think the actual DFW staff is what, 2,000?
About 2,000 employees.
And you shared something that now is part of because of the new innovation efforts, any onboarding, any new hire goes through a little bit of innovation training just to kind of set the expectation. These are things we want you to be aware of as part of your role. Can you share that?
Yeah, so we are essentially a massive operation with many different tenants and stakeholder groups in our organization. So while we have 2,000-ish board employees, there are probably 65,000 people who call DFW Airport their place of business. They belong to our federal agencies, our airline partners, our custodial contractors, our construction teams. And so as we think about building an organization that together delivers on incredible customer experience, we have to think inclusively. That said, in order for us as an airport and the 2,000 people that belong to this entity of ours to commit, to know and to commit to an innovation mindset, we do train and require training of everybody in their first 6 months that they take our innovation mindsets module. So they get exposed to it earlier and then they might otherwise, and often. And the tenets of those principles are really, you got to ask questions. We want you to explore, which means we don't just want you to run out to the closest solution that you think you have because a vendor happened to be there that day and say they had one. And we want you to think about ways to experiment. Experimentation in our culture is not something that people are always very comfortable with, and you have to do it in very controlled ways. Sometimes we'll do our experiments off campus because it's just easier to prove out technology and advance our ideas without having to go through all of the permitting and such that we would ultimately have to do if we want to roll something out.
Right, yeah, to be inside the airport, regulations and safety. And okay. Yeah, I thought that was excellent because a lot of time the question comes up like, yeah, I want my organization to be more innovative. What do we do? Well, one thing is everyone has to understand what does it mean to innovate. We have to give them some basic skills. You're just doing it as part of our onboarding, right? Hey, new employee, here's all the things you have to know. Plus, you're going to learn some things about innovating and some the questions to ask. Why do we do it that way? Is there a better way to do that? Why did that thing happen? I usually think of some sort of surprise that takes place in my head, and it's often this could have been better, right? Why wasn't this better, sort of thing? And we wanted to trigger that in people. So great job doing that. Okay, let's get into the award aspect of this as well. So pursuing the Outstanding Corporate Innovator Award, OCI Award, I don't know if this is true of all winners, but most companies apply, and they go through the process and don't win because you have to learn a lot. I think that was true for DFW. I don't know when you...
We applied for the first time in 2023.
Okay, so you just took you 2 years. Congratulations.
It took us 2 years. Thank you very much. We first of all, the experience was brought to us, or the opportunity was brought to us by one of our innovation partners and said, you really should look at this because we are truly trying to build a world-class innovation program that services the strategic initiatives of the organization, but also have an effect on the industry. And so our friends at Giant Innovation had called us and said, hey, take a look at this, give it a shot, and see what happens. Like, we've been there before, and there's really great feedback. So we did, and I never really understood how much work it was or what I would get out of it. But I took the paperwork home one weekend and wrote, and we luckily had a lot of the content that was required for the screening questionnaire that we had thought through in a very disciplined manner when we set up. And my boss had sort of laid a foundation for process and principles and strategic fit of our organizational objectives. So then we probably at midnight in 2023 on the day that it was due, we're like, oh, here it goes, we'll see what happens. And we got the best feedback from the PDMA awards team that said, you're doing all the right things, you can work on a couple of these other things, but really, unfortunately, you're too young to have met the criteria of being in place for 5 years. And so the value in the information and feedback that they gave us, we socialized everywhere and often. And a lot of that was about metrics. How do we measure our success, our performance in the government environment in the light of the fact that my team is responsible for piloting and tests and not for longer term implementation? And so as they talked about today, as a government entity and our structure, we're just different. And so we had to think long and hard over the course of the last year about how do we structure our team and our programs to ensure that we're able to measure and use those measurements to better inform our operational efficiency as a group, our relationships with our departments across the organization. And we've literally made staffing changes based on skill sets and who's great at that and who's not great at that. And it's been a tremendous experience.
Yeah, no doubt. So for that first year of application, was there a on-site review, or was it just the written feedback?
No, we didn't get that far.
Okay,
They bounced us right out of the gates.
Good information. Did it meet one of the central criteria, which you have to have an innovation capability in place for at least 5 years?
Yep.
Formal process, organization, all that. Okay, but they still gave you really good feedback.
They gave us great feedback. Yeah.
And that's the key benefit of, there's other awards, the Baldrige Award is classic for this. Organizations do that to improve their performance. OCI is meant to be the same thing. It's like, let's help companies that are already innovating do better.
Yep.
And so you got good feedback from that. And then you moved into year 2. Yep. And what was that experience like applying for the award?
Well, I'm just going to say this right now. I'm very competitive, and my team is very competitive in that we love the recognition, but really we love the opportunity to share what we've worked so hard for. It's been a journey. And when we first got there, it was hard. And there are days when it continues to be very hard. But with our strategy, our process, our principles of program management, and our people, and when I say people, my team and their grit and their dedication to hard work, but also the people of DFW, whether you sit in the police department or fire or customer experience, we have built networks of people who are essentially innovation ambassadors. And not everybody is, but that's evolving, and it's largely in part to our executive sponsorship and the pure hard work of our organization, and the fact that it's Texas and people are just really nice there.
People do seem to be nice in Texas. I have some relationships with Texas, so that's great. And as part of that review, they did come on site for the year 2.
They did.
And they see operations, and it's not a trivial thing. And this by no means is the OCI Award a rubber stamp thing. It's like apply and you get selected. It is designed to help the organization improve, and that we truly are, PDMA is looking for the outstanding people, outstanding organization. What was the on-site experience like in terms of, I have no idea what happens.
So we scheduled a day for them to come down, and again, given the airport environment, things are changing all the time. So to say in 6 weeks, we're gonna be there that day, we tried to get everybody that we wanted to be there that day, and that sort of got scrambled in the weeks leading up to it and such. But to be honest, I took a human-centered approach to it, and I tried to put myself in their shoes with recognition of how we show up as an airport and the fact that some of the things we've been working on, you're not going to see when you walk through the terminals, but you're able to hear them and talk to people and such. So they came down on a Wednesday morning. They were with us for 10 hours, and we scheduled the first half of the day in conference rooms showing and really having them talk to our team, learn about our metrics, talk to some of our everyday innovators, talk to our learning and development program. We had an executive session where they were able to challenge our executives on our metrics and how we measure things, and that got a little interesting, but to the benefit of our team's thinking. And then we took them out for, what's the Love Boat, like a 3-hour cruise or something like that. We took them out for a 4.5-hour tour of the airport.
Nice.
And we created probably about 15 different stations, and we had 34 people involved from across the organization, our operations division, our customer experience division, our waste management division, and all along the airport, they experienced stories of the people working so diligently to deliver on excellence at DFW.
Really cool. I want to be part of that team sometime. So, and the behind the scenes tour of the airport, that would be fun too.
We did get a picture with the PDMA team on the airfield. That's always like, that's the clincher. Like, how do you win? Get them under a plane, get a photo under the plane.
It's something cool. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The PDMA does not take bribes, just to be clear.
That's true.
Okay, so really good stories. As a innovation VP, this growing organization, your experience there over the nearly 6 years now, how do you resource innovation? Because often this topic comes up. Well, we want to be more innovative. We're going to make a structural change. We'll put a innovation officer in place, a VP of innovation, to make it clear this is important to the organization. And then where do we go from there? Right. So we train employees, kind of make sure it's clear what to do. But then we want to do something. And oftentimes we're asking the people who are already maxed in workload to take on, somehow contribute also to this new thing we want to do. How do you go about resourcing so projects actually get done?
Yeah, I mean, so DFW is not my first innovation team. And so I knew what questions to ask when I first came down 5.5 years ago. And that was, who is our sponsor? And do I have my own budget? Can I build a team the way that I want to build? And I do have a boss, and our CEO hired an EVP of innovation who sort of laid the foundational groundwork in terms of how we would work as a business unit, but attached to the core business. So we're not a skunk works team that's off on our own. We are sitting at corporate headquarters with the teams in the operation. And it's just very important to have that sort of executive sponsorship and to build those relationships. It really comes down to Steve Jobs' quote, it's not about the technology, it's about the people. And constantly looking for ways to challenge the organization straight on, but sort of help them see what's down the road. And I think we've been successful in doing that, and it's a lot of fun. But like I said before, it's a lot of hard work. And you do have to get people bound to the initiative. And something that maybe 2 or 3 years down the road, 5 or 6, 7 years, is a little harder to get your operational folks to sort of commit to on any given day, especially if something's not going well. All hands go on deck, everyone sort of drops everything, and then it takes a bit for the initiative to sort of take speed again. And that's why our dedicated innovation team has been successful, because they don't call us when those things are going wrong. We're heads down sort of looking at what is the future and how do we better prepare our organization for it.
Okay. What does that team do? What's the responsibility, right? Because the tension is, and this is clearly not true at DFW, because everyone onboarding learns about how to innovate and is encouraged to do so. But there is a tension if you just say, well, here's the innovation department, the group, these people, right? And then the rest of the culture goes, oh, well, we don't innovate. So what's the purpose of your team, and how do they work with everyone else?
Yeah. So first and foremost, again, we're fortunate to be in an organization that has innovation at its core. And our strategic plan suggests that innovation, digital transformation, diversity, and sustainability are all key values for our organization. In terms of our belief set as a company, we also say collaborating wins. So we have the tenets and the principles and our mission, vision, and values that we can lean into, and we do all the time. The operation itself is very fast working, fast moving, I would say. There's lots going on, and you say tension like it's a bad word. I mean, the reality is that in some cases, there's a healthy tension, and there are some good conversations that happen about who's on first. We very intentionally have built relationships with different division leaders and department heads to discuss what are your priorities and what do the next 2 to 3 years look like. And we work collaboratively to say, all right, I'm probably not going to help you with your sales target in the next 12 months, but let me help you make it an easier run at it next year. And together we've sort of aligned. But in the beginning, it was like, what are you doing here? And is this a judgment of my inability? The other thing I would say I'm very proud of is in many corporations, I think, or organizations like ours, there is a tension between the IT organization and the innovation function. And I am very pleased that our two teams work beautifully together and talk about what are the priorities. And our head of IT will say the innovation team is going to figure those things out for us at first, and then we will own scaling it for the organization. So it's a really nice win for everybody. And it requires the right people working hard and communicating, but it happens.
Excellent. So does your team then have the resources to like take an idea from one of the groups, wherever it may come from inside the airport, and then start helping to develop that a little bit? And then when it makes sense, it sounds like a collaborative effort and to hand things off.
Yes. So I'm a firm believer that good ideas come from everywhere. And so we have a front-end innovation team that their job is to, on a regular monthly basis, be out in the operation, listening for some of the problems, seeking out opportunities, and bringing ideas back to our innovation team. And so every other month we meet with them and we run through a handful of new ideas based on trends or things that they're seeing in the marketplace or something that they're hearing from the operational folks. And we discuss as a group which ones do we believe need more evaluation and which ones are a slam dunk to like, yeah, let's take that. We'll take that project and we'll put it into our pipeline and put our resources behind it. But we're never working alone. We're always working with an executive sponsor from one of the other departments, unless it's Rapid Learning and my boss will sponsor it as the EVP of Innovation. But I would say 60% or 65% of the time, it's one of our other EVPs who signs off on it and says, yes, this is meaningful. I'm willing to dedicate my people's time and attention to it. And we will work together to the shared goal that we define up front, even though it will change and iterate over time. But we have evolved to make that a necessary part of our process.
Well, that gives you strategic alignment because the purpose of the innovation group should be to deliver on what the strategic objectives are of the organization, the airport in this case. And it also gives you the clear support that the function has said this is important and the project is unlikely to stall out in the middle because there's no one actually advocating for it.
The reality is some projects stall out in the middle, but it's a business decision.
Business environment changes.
We have certain checkpoints throughout the process where we will sit down with the executive sponsor again, and sometimes we have multiple checkpoints because some things take longer and they change as we're moving. And I would say we've gotten much better at that and managing that. And nobody wants to like do yet another meeting to discuss a product. Everyone wants to move it forward. But we recognize that we are #1 DFW and we win together.
Yeah, that's a big organization to win together. So I like that, the #DFW. And there was something else you said about characterizing the kind of the purpose of DFW. And I frankly don't remember the specific words, but it was all related on the flyer using the airport, right? And how do you?
Yes. So
We're innovating for the experience of.
Yeah, again, I mean, a lot of the organizations that I think have been here over the week and participate in the PDMA OCI Award are building products and they have shareholders and they have company bottom lines. We are a government organization that will, by 2028, process probably 100 million passengers a year. Our mission is very different. We have an obligation to deliver on a great customer experience. We also have a commitment to be a great steward of the community. We have a mission to be safe and secure for all of our people and employees that work there. And when you put all of those things together, it really does, well executed, it's a symphony, but we don't have the same processes and principles. I can't just go out and pick vendors that I want to work with. There are much more rigorous procurement and compliance challenges as a government organization. Yeah, so things work differently. That said, they can work. And I'm pleased that some of the people in our organization are helping to sort of see what that future could be and what the art of the possible looks like in order to make our operations sort of just move faster.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, really good. There's something I did not prepare you for.
Okay.
Because this is my mistake. I failed to talk about it earlier. We like innovation quotes.
Okay.
And so I'm going to ask you for an innovation quote in just a moment. It can be yours. It can be one that you know from somewhere else. First, as we've been talking about this OCI Award and the ability to win it, a lot of the things when the team is reviewing the applications and then doing the on-site review as well, on-site analysis of what's going on, they're using the 7 knowledge areas for product mastery. That's my term for this. I use the Rapid Product Mastery System to help others learn this as well. But they come from PDMA. It's the 7 knowledge areas that we have organized the body of knowledge that product managers, leaders, innovators need to know. And if you want to learn those yourself and be a better product innovator, you can go to productmasterynow.com/RPM and learn about the Rapid Product Mastery experience, because it's the system that will help you learn how to create products your customers love and help your organization excel in innovation also. This brings us to an innovation quote. Do you have a quote that you like that you can share with us and tell us what that means?
So I mentioned before, it's Steve Jobs. It's not the technology, it's about the people. But as a female in technology and innovation, Steve Jobs is not who I try to quote. I like making up our own. And as we continue to evolve as an organization, that one DFW, which is an enterprise-wide slogan, and for us, it's DFW Innovates, and we can get everybody behind that. We're very intentional about it. We spread that like gospel around our organization to the point where I actually think they believe it.
That's a good thing, right?
It's intentional.
Yep. DFW Innovates.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. Which is, I must say, having talked with you, having heard your presentation that you did on what you've done to earn the award, there's a lot going on. It by no means is this just kind of, what do they call it, greenwashing when it's trying to do the sustainability thing. We're not just sticking lipstick on the pig. It's like, no kidding, DFW is committed to an innovation journey. You said that was the part of the core since the airport opened, but now there's been this innovation group for the last 6 years and making a real difference there.
Yeah, I think if I were to give you a quote, it really is about the fact that we believe that everyone can innovate. And even if you don't think you can, we believe that you can contribute to it.
Yeah.
As we evangelize that and create opportunities for our people to participate in the process, we're having an impact. And you're seeing it in the culture ratings. You're seeing it in the way that people show up. I shared an example of one of our folks in our environmental affairs team, and his manager stood in front of the PDMA team and talked about what a changed man he is, because he's been taught some of these essentially life skills on how to ask questions, how to frame your idea, how to advance an idea, which it's not just about innovation, it's about being successful in life. And so I'm very proud of the team that we've put in place, the process we've put in place, the leadership engagement that we have at DFW. And I'm so grateful for the executive sponsorship that we've had over the last couple of years. And certainly thankful for the PDMA for continuing to sort of give us feedback and allowing us the honor of accepting this award this year.
And once again, congratulations on winning the award, the Outstanding Corporate Innovator Award. That's fantastic. And really appreciate you having the discussion with me today. For listeners, if you want to find the written article of everything we discussed, that is going to be at productmasterynow.com/508. What do you want to leave us with in terms of anything going on with DFW innovation, or if people want to just know more about you?
Well, first of all, happy to connect with people, but I mean, DFW is a magical place. We're the 3rd busiest airport in the world right now, and we are growing. There is such complexity to the work that we do and such a diverse workforce. And if there's one thing that I would ask everybody, it's to sort of think about that next time you go through your local airport, or at least DFW, and recognize that our passengers, our partners, and everybody behind the scenes comes together in order to deliver on the future of travel transformed, which is our motto. It's not easy work, and I will say it's a lot of fun though.
It sounds like a lot of fun, an interesting place to be. So, and I will pay attention next time I fly through DFW to see what is different.
Right.
So, excellent. Once again, the article version at productmasterynow.com/508. As always, everyone, keep innovating.
Thank you for listening to Product Mastery Now, where product leaders and managers gain product mastery through practical knowledge, influence, and confidence. By listening, you are becoming a product master, creating products customers love. Find additional resources at productmasterynow.com. Keep innovating.